Okay, we're gonna sew bias tape finish to finish off the raw edge on an inward corner. And I'm just gonna follow the instructions in the textbook. They tell us to use a bias tape that's 1 inch and 1/4 inch wide. So this is 1 inch and 2 little boxes is 1/4. Looks like I'm a little bit over, but I think on other parts I probably hit it just right. So 1 inch and 1/4 wide. And then they want us to sew it, our bias tape, right side, faces together, sorry. Right sides together, just 3/16 of an inch. So this ruler, you can see 16ths at the very bottom. It's probably gonna be really hard to see in the camera, I'm guessing. I'll try to zoom in for you, but it's pretty close to the edge. And then we'll also sew it this way once it gets turned. I really think the secret to do this one well and not get stuck with a pucker, it's to really know where your sew line is and where to turn. And your goal is to stop the needle in the exact right spot. So, I mean, I just eyeballed something, it's probably incorrect. So I'm gonna zoom in and let's put the ruler to work. Okay, so again, let's see here. We have 16ths on just these two edges here. So 1, 2, 3. So I want this line here in line with that little guy, and that's how low it is. And then 1, 2, 3, this guy should be scooted so that he lines up. So I'm thinking this is where 3/16 inch is. And I could draw, you know, our sew line would go up and our sew line will go out. Okay, but our goal is we want to sew it and we want to stop exactly there. And then we're gonna snip right here. So I guess I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. I've seen other tutorials where people will cut it after they sew it. Your textbook has you cut it first. Who knows what's best? Not me. So, okay, now the only thing is I'm gonna put this down. I'm not gonna see that mark. So maybe what I should do is go ahead and mark it again with my fabric. I can actually see it's right there. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna sew this straight down, make sure I stop exactly there. So I'm just gonna sew a regular stitch. Honestly though, when I get about 1/2 inch here, I'll probably change my stitch length to be kind of shorter so I have a better chance of really getting it right there. And then once I do, I'm gonna leave my needle in the down position and this will open and I'm gonna bring my tape to line up here on the other edge. And I'm gonna do my best to not get a pucker. I'll try to zoom out a little. And I'm doing okay right here, and then I'll put the foot down and sew straight, and I shouldn't get a pucker. So I'm gonna go give it a shot. Okay, so I'm gonna attempt to sew 3/16 seam allowance. So on my machine, there's, I guess that's 0, 1/8, 2, wait, it's 1/8. So I guess 1/16 is in between there, then that's 2/16, 3/16. So I'm pretty sure this line is 3/16. I don't know, there's 2 next to it. That's kind of weird. I guess I could get my ruler out and measure it, but I'm just gonna shoot for the first one and see what happens. Okay, so you know what? I make sure my stitch length is going straight. I'm doing a regular stitch length for the time being at like a 2.5. And here I go. That sounds kind of funny. Okay, and I'm going to change my length to be a little shorter. I'm going to just use the hand wheel to try to get as close to that little dot that I marked. Boom. Okay, I think that's pretty good. I'm gonna lift up my presser foot. I'm gonna turn the corner towards me. And again, I did cut that slit, so now this corner can turn straight. I'm gonna bring my binding. Oh, there's almost a little pucker there, but if I have a pin or something, I could straighten it out. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, much better. Okay. Lining up the raw edges. Okay, great, putting the foot down. Okay, I don't see a pucker yet. Dun, dun, dun. Here we go. gonna change my stitch length to be like 2.5 again, a little longer. Not back stitch. So our textbook wants us to fold it, and they tell us, you know, fold it on the raw edge. They just really want it to cover about a 1/16 inch over our stitch line, so it covers it. And we're actually gonna go back in and do a thing called stitch in the ditch. So it should catch it, and then they want us to fold this open or unfold it, I guess. We have to be careful about not getting a pucker here. I guess that's our big challenge since we're in intermediate sewing. Let's see here. Maybe I read it too fast, but I didn't see a consistent amount to fold over the raw edge. So I'm kind of eyeballing it. I'm gonna need my pins. So when I sew it, I'm not gonna sew the top corner because I'm gonna try to use that for the next notebook sample. So I'm probably gonna leave about 1/2 inch unsewn, and I'm gonna switch my presser foot, and I'm gonna switch it to a cording foot. I'm gonna try to stitch in the ditch so I can get really close here to the edge. So let's see how that goes. Okay, I'm gonna change out my presser foot, and I'm gonna put this cording one. Let's see. Doesn't matter. I guess I should do this side probably. Is that the best? Or if I do this side, I don't know. I'm trying to get to the edge. I think this is side's closer to the edge when I move my needle. Okay, and then I'm gonna try to stitch in the ditch. Am I doing this the right direction? I wonder if it might feed through my machine. Oh, a little bit better if I flip it around. Oh, actually no. I want to flip it this way because this is the right side of my fabric. This part's already been sewn, and I want to try to get my needle inside that like sewn part, I guess. That's my goal. Okay. Hard part is I put my pins on the other side. That's okay, I'll make do. Okay, here we go. Regular stitch length. I don't want a pucker. I magically do it. Okay, so I'm not necessarily super impressed with my stitch in the ditch technique. Let me zoom in a little bit for you. Oopsies. I feel like I kind of missed that pretty far. This side did okay. I mean, maybe it's fine if I had matching color thread. I almost wonder if it would have been better if I just tried to top stitch it and just go with that look. Don't know. And then this side, I think it was a little sloppy when I folded that seam allowance, but this one was a little bit more even. This is the back side. So anyways, I guess I could practice more. So the last step is we have this like bulky part. Do you see this like annoying little thing? So we're just gonna sew that shut, but of course I wanna sew it on the back side. So I'm gonna leave the back flat, let it kind of pop up. There it is, I see it. So I'm actually gonna bring my right sides together, and I just wanna sew a diagonal line here to here on the machine. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now. So I sewed the little diagonal line, kind of making like a little dart. I did this on the back side. So now, when I open it up, we have like a nice little mitered corner that's nice and clean. So overall, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. I just think next time I'm gonna practice sewing closer to the ditch. I think next time if I do the sample again, it said to use a cording foot. The foot I had was more of a zipper foot. I don't think it was really maybe the best one. I might change my clear foot. I don't know, I'd play around, but I could definitely improve with the placement of the stitch to try to get closer. And of course, change my thread color. But overall, it looks pretty nice.